then for the final one, we'll just draw a line here out to where we're going to end it, and then draw one final arc from this point to this point. There we have that. So now we should have a complete closed profile. And again, just like before, we'll draw our axis line, and then just finish the revolve. Now, it says the lighting source is inside solid geometry. No light will be emitted during rendering. But if we take a look at this, yeah, what we're actually going to have to do is go ahead and put a void down the center of this solid that we have here. So let's go back to our front view, and let's go ahead and say void, and then I think I'm going to use a revolve in this case as well, that way I can make it circular. So we'll go void revolve, and then I'll just go in here and let's just pull this, say, from here down to, like, say, here. Then let's see. I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to kind of pull this thing here. We don't really, I mean, what we should probably do is offset all these lines in here so that we have a very, very, very minimal thickness. But for the sake of time in this video, I'm not going to show it. But probably a best practice here would be to take and copy this profile, then offset it, and then put a void in here that kind of follows the shape of the shade, and maybe give it like a, I don't know, maybe a 1/16 of an inch thickness. In this case, I'm going to try and just get away with just being a little bit quick and just putting a void down the center of this case here. Say, finish the revolve. Let's go back into the 3D view and see how that looks. And I mean, it's not too bad. It's not ideal, but I think for this case it'll probably work. You know, it's a little bit thicker than I would prefer, but you know, like I said, for the quickness of the video, this will probably suffice. So the next thing what we want to do here is again set the material of the shade. So let's go ahead and select. I want to select the outside object here. Let's go ahead and go to element properties, and again we're going to go back to here where it says by category, and let's create a new category, or I'm sorry, a new material, and let's call this Tyrannosaur lamp shade. Okay, and we're going to go to render appearance, I'm going to say replace, and we're going to go up to or pull down here under class and go to fabric. And let's say fabric linen beige. That's probably the closest thing to it. And then we've got an image file that comes in with that. It's at 1'3", 1'3". All this is probably fine. One thing we do want to change is the translucency of this. We should probably crank this up to, I don't know, let's try this and say, you know, I don't know, maybe 0.75, and we'll just have to see how this turns out in the you know, in the rendering once you actually get to this point when we put it into a project. If we wanted to, we can come in here and put cutouts, perforations if we had some kind of decorative shade on it. So we're okay with that. We'll hit OK here. Again, what we want to do is actually go and apply a parameter so that we can edit the shade within a project context. So again, we'll go up here to types, and we'll create a new parameter again. And we'll call this Tyrannosaur lamp shade. Okay. And again, we're going to create a material. Again, we're going to group it under material and finishes, and we're going to leave it as a type parameter. And once more, we'll come in here and actually point this to be the shade material here. Okay. The last thing we're going to look at is the lighting characteristics here. So we come in here and we have initial intensity here. Several different values of how we can control this. We can control it by luminous flux, luminous intensity, luminance at a given distance. We just take what we know, what we have as a known. We know what the wattage of this is. So what we'll do is we'll choose wattage, and our max was 250 watts. That's pretty powerful. Maybe make this at let's just say 200 watts, and we might have to come back in here and adjust this a little bit if we need to. So this is one parameter I don't think I'm going to expose because I don't want anybody going in there and tinkering with it unless they kind of know what they're doing. So I'm going to leave this one unexposed, if you will. So we'll hit OK here, and that's basically we're ready to push this thing into a project. So we'll just give this thing a name. Save as family. Want to put it somewhere where you can get, I typically put this in a custom Revit Architecture content folder, and I've got a lighting folder in here, and I'll just call this Toronto floor lamp. And hit save. Last thing we'll do is we'll load this into a project. Say File, New, Project. Hit OK here. So last thing we'll do is we'll switch back over to our lighting family and say Load into Project. And we'll just place this anywhere for the time being. We don't really care. And let's go and switch to a 3D view and go into a rendering view. And let's change this to be let's say exterior artificial only. And let's set this to maybe high. And let's see how this thing looks. So after the rendering is complete, we can see that we've got a decent looking lighting family here. The last thing I would probably change about this is I would maybe go in and adjust the intensity of the light a little bit. One thing I did want to correct was I noted that during the rendering process that I hadn't changed the transparency of the shade material, so I had to go in and correct that. Right now the shade material's got a transparency set of about 0.85. And if there's anything that you wanted to change about this additionally, we can go in and modify that family, re-update it to the project, and re-render it and check it, and tweak it to the point that you like it. One thing that I would tend to stress is that you try and keep it as realistic as possible and as close to the lighting manufacturer's imagery as possible. So that's how you do that.